Hello, my name is Michelle, and welcome to my channel, Michelle's Melancholia. Let's talk about the books I'm planning to read in November. And yes, I know I'm a little bit late. I literally just finished reading my last October book, but it doesn't matter. I'll start talking about the books I'm reading for different book clubs and read-alongs, and then I want to give you some ideas for books to read for Nostalgic November, the readathon organized by Kelsey from Slime and Slashers. And because probably most of you are more organized than I am, you already have your TBRs, but I still thought it would be worth it for me to maybe give you some more ideas. And actually, for some of the prompts, I have like really short books, so if you're in a hurry at the end of the month, maybe you can use one of those. So as every month, I'm joining the Classic Horror Crew, which is a book club that happens on Instagram, organized by Paul from Pizza Planeteer. And this month we are reading They Thirst by Robert McCammon. And I was actually supposed to start reading McCammon in October with Usher's passing, and I didn't get to it, and I don't know, maybe that ship has sailed for now, so maybe I'll just move on and start reading They Thirst. Then for Criminalese birth year book tag, I always struggle so much to say that, birth year book tag read along. This month's choice is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I already got that from my local library, and it's quite small, so I'm pretty sure I can fit that in this month. And then there's Kelly's From Hell Book Club, and her channel is Kelly Hooked on Books, which I will also link below. And the choice for this month was Bats by William Johnstone. However, people have started chatting in the Discord, and apparently it's not great. So depending on how things go, I might skip that one for this month. And I think that's it for book clubs. I really hope I'm not forgetting anything. Oh, I am forgetting something. It's not a book club, but it's a body read that I'm doing with my friend Adam from Instagram. His account is Chaos of Cold, and he's kind of newish to the whole bookstagram thing, but his account is great and he always has very good insightful reviews, so give him a follow. And we are going to be reading My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, because we both had that book in like really high priority on our TBRs, but we kind of just like needed a push to get started, so we decided to just read that together. And finally, my non-fiction pick, because now I've decided to read one non-fiction book every month, so I have chosen Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Lessons from the Crematorium by Caitlin Doughty, because, well, November is the month to read about death, I guess, because of Day of the Dead. Okay, so that's it. And then now I'm going to give you ideas for Nostalgic November, and I have my printout here with the options. I'm not going to read all 9 of these books. I'm probably just going to choose a couple. So for each prompt, what I will do is that first I will tell you what would be my first pick to read, and then give 2 extra options. These are not really recommendations because none of these books I have read, so I can't really recommend them. It's just ideas in case you are not finding something that you would want to read for any one of the prompts. Okay, so prompt number 1 is read a book with old technology on cover or in story. So my first choice is The Viewmaster by Rebecca Rowland and Michael Aloisi. And obviously this toy was like a staple of many of our childhoods. And this is actually a short story. It's only 23 pages, so really quick read. If you want to get something in that prompt, maybe try this out. It's also on Kindle Unlimited. And the description says, after rummaging through the attic of his mother's home, Jack is excited to be reunited with his favorite toy from childhood. He soon learns, however, that sometimes memories can't be trusted. things aren't always how they appear, and some lost items won't be found without the owner paying a very steep price. So another option that I considered was Video Night by Adam Cesar. And this is set in the 80s, so it includes like old, actual, I'm assuming, VHS tapes or something like that. And it is about a group of teenage horror nerds trying to repel a body-snatching alien invasion. And the third option I considered is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca, because this involves two women meeting in a chat room in the early 2000s. So I thought that these like early internet chat rooms could be considered old technology. And yeah, from what I know, these two women get in a kind of disturbing online relationship, and it's supposed to be very good. It's also quite short, 120 pages, so that's also a quick read. Prompt number 2 is read a book featuring books in the story or on the cover. So my top pick for this is The Book of the Most Precious Substance by Sarah Grant. And this is about a rare book dealer who's trying to get her hands on a book about sex magic. Other than that, I'm not sure what this is about. I just know that a lot of rich people are also looking for the book and are willing to pay like very, very steep price to acquire it. But I've enjoyed Sarah Grant's writing in the past, so I'm looking forward to reading this. Option number 2 is The Library of the Dead by T.L. Huchu. I'm not sure if this is YA or adult, but it's about a girl who is a ghost stalker, which means that she now speaks to the dead, and this takes place in Edinburgh. So that's why I was drawn to it in the first place. But anyways, apparently what happens is that she at some point hears the dead talking about something or someone that's killing children, and she decides to start investigating this. And the third option is a book I found, like I came across this book when I went to pick up the other book from the library, and I just thought it looked really good, and that is The Haunted Book by Jeremy Dyson. And the actual physical book that I borrowed is like too far away from me now. I don't really want to go and get it, but it's much nicer than this cover that I'm showing because it actually looks like an old book. And this caught my attention because it includes one of my favorite tropes, which is this like skeptical paranormal investigator that doesn't believe in the paranormal, but then they start encountering things or situations that really start to make them doubt and think that these things could possibly be real. So it says, in 2009, Jeremy Dyson, so I think it's like one of those books where the author uses the name of the character to write the book, or the other way around, so that it seems more realistic. So anyways, Jeremy Dyson was contacted by a journalist wanting to help bringing together accounts of true life ghost stories from across the British Isles. The Haunted Book chronicles the journey Dyson, formerly a hardened skeptic, went on to uncover the truth behind these tales. Prompt number 3 is a book written by a female author or a book with a woman protagonist. And for this, my top choice is one of Silvia Moreno Garcia's books, either Mexican Gothic or The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. And I have both of these books in my bookshelves currently. So yeah, I'll probably pick one of them. And I've both talked about them before in the channel, and also they're quite well known. So I'm not going to go into the synopsis for that, otherwise it would just take too long. The second option I have is Full Immersion by Gemma Amor, which is about a woman who one day found her own dead body, and from what I understand, it's inspired by the author's real life experience with postpartum depression. So that sounds like an interesting read. And my third option is Mary, An Awakening of Terror by Nat Cassidy, which I've also spoken about before. And it's about a middle-aged woman who may or may not be getting possessed, but it could also be just menopause. I think that's how the story goes. So that's meant to be really good. It's gotten really good reviews on BookTube, so The next prompt is read a book featuring witches, magic, or magical elements or items. And I've actually just chosen 3 witch books. My top choice is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson, and basically this is about a secret government department composed by witches. And I guess they protect crown and country from magical forces and otherworldly evil. My second choice is Slewfoot by Brom, and this is about a woman who has been exiled or outcast from a puritanical society in 1666. So I think she turns to maybe a demon for help. So yeah, that's also a type of story that I usually enjoy very much. And my third option is a book I just came across while browsing on Kindle Unlimited. It's called The Witches of Scotland by Stephen P. Aitchison. And the description says, when entitled Glasgow law student David Hunter learns he is from a long line of witches known as dream dancers, his life is turned upside down. Now David has unwittingly exposed himself to a world of powerful witches, clandestine government agencies, and the fight to protect the consciousness of humanity. He has to battle his inner demons before he can ever hope to become a true witch of Scotland. So this sounds a little bit more maybe like leaning towards fantasy. The next prompt is mood read from 2000 or earlier, or a book set in the 90s, 80s or earlier. So I think for this one I would just use They Thirst by Robert McCammon, which I'm already using for my book club. Then we have read a book set around Halloween or Christmas, or a book with Halloween or Christmas vibes. I actually have 2 books that I was planning to read in October, but I didn't have time. So my first pick is Halloween Slaughter by Sergio Gomez. And I really want to get to that soon before I forget what happens in the previous one, which is Camp Slaughter, because I just read that one during this summer, so it may be good to get the sequel sooner rather than later. But my second option was Benny Rose the Cannibal King by Hailey Piper, which is, I think it's a supernatural slasher that happens during Halloween. And then I really wanted to have a Christmas book in here, so I found this one called Secret Santa by Andrew Schaffer. So this book is about a people who work together in a company. I think it's a book publishing company, and they have like a Christmas gift exchange, and one of them receives a doll or a gnome, some kind of toy, and they're kind of upset because they think that their coworkers don't take them seriously. But then the coworkers start dying one by one, and it looks like these doll, gnome, or whatever may be responsible. The next prompt is read a book set in nature or with nature on the cover. For that, my top pick is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher because of the mushrooms on the cover, and I think there's also mushrooms featuring in the story. And this is either a retelling or it's a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher. My second choice was The Loss of the Sky by Gregoire Courtois, but I'm not sure about this because I think I've mentioned before that I'm a little bit scared of it. I know that it's about like a group of people, including numerous children, that go camping, and what we know from the beginning of the book, or even the description, is that they all die. And it's supposed to be pretty horrific, and I kind of hate camping as well. So I think it will just make me very nervous. My third option is The Forgotten Island by David Sodergren. And it is about 2 sisters that are vacationing in Thailand, and they come across what seems to be like a deserted island. So they get on it, and there is something evil lurking in there. The next prompt is read a book featuring dolls or toys in the story or on the cover. So I was actually thinking that for this you could also use the Viewmaster because the Viewmaster is a toy. But I have another short book option. It is also on Kindle Unlimited, and it's called Wagon Body by Steve Strett. And this is about a kid and their imaginary friend. And I guess the question is if the imaginary friend is actually imaginary. Another option for this is Just Like Mother by Anna Helzel, because of course it has the creepy doll cover. And I'm pretty sure this is about a woman remembering things about her childhood and coming to the realization that maybe she was part of a cult or grew up in a cult. And for the third option, there's another creepy doll cover, and that is Suffer the Children by Craig DeLuey. And the description for that is: a mysterious disease claims the world's children before bringing them back. To continue surviving, however, they need to ingest human blood. So I think it's creepy doll on the cover, but creepy kid in the story, or creepy children in the story. And finally, the last prompt is: read a coming-of-age story or a story featuring kids versus evil or killer. Actually, this was the hardest prompt for me because I think coming of age is one of my least favorite types of stories, but I actually think My Heart is a Chainsaw fits that because the main character is a teenager and she's most definitely fighting a killer, I think. So yeah, that would work for this prompt. Another option I found, which is also on Kindle Unlimited and is only 138 pages, is Dirty Heads, Errand Rise, and the description for this one doesn't really give a lot, but it says a novella of cosmic coming-of-age horror, so that's the only way I knew it was this type of story, but it says: it has haunted you since the summer of 1994, back when we confessed who we were through mixtapes, when every movie at the video store had dirty heads. You were 13 and thought you knew who you were, only the shadow with too many teeth knew you better. It still does, and it won't stop, not until you come home. Back to where it all began. So I really like this one because it also has like that nostalgic feel. And that's it. I really couldn't come up with a third option for this prompt because, as I said, it's not the type of stories that I enjoy reading. So I think even when people talk about them, I just forget them. I almost forgot that there is a bonus/replacement prompt, and I do have ideas for that. So it says, if you don't like a prompt on the board, you can replace any square with this prompt. So I would probably just replace the coming of age horror if I was not already reading a book that fits the prompt. Anyways, my top choice was Womb. And I've heard a lot about it on BookTube with very mixed opinions. I only know that it happens in a motel between a man and an escort, and I think just like really awful things happen. But I think when I saw Read a Book with Neon on the cover, I immediately thought like neon signs. So Womb was the first thing that came to my mind. Another option I have is Strange Tricks, an Essex Witch Museum mystery by Sid Moore. And I think this is about a girl who ends up inheriting from her family a witch museum, but then finds out that she's actually a witch. And along with one of the museum's curators, they are trying to solve a mystery of a person that's gone missing. And my third option is Tastes Like Candy by Ivy Tholen, which is a slasher story. And I've heard a lot of good things about it. And it's about a group of girls that break into a carnival to play some kind of like scavenger hunt game in there. And of course, they start to get picked off one by one. But anyways, I really hope that some of these recommendations are useful to you, or at least that you enjoyed hearing me talking about books that I would like to read, if not for the readathon, sometime in the near future. And also I hope you don't mind that today's video was so casual. I really wanted to talk about books, but I really didn't want to like set up my tripod and the lights and everything. And let me know in the comments down below what are your reading plans for November, and I will see you on my next video. But until then, goodbye.